All knitting decreases fall into two categories, right-leaning and left-leaning, which has nothing to do with their political views. I'm going to show you today why both are important and how to use them together in different combinations to create different looks. If you still need to learn how to do these decreases, check out the videos that are popping up in the corner over here and then come back. The links are also in the description box. I made some swatches to show you different ways that left and right leaning stitches can be combined. And this one here has left leaning on the right edge, right leaning and left leaning right next to each other, and then right leaning on this edge. So you can see I left one stitch sellage on either side, but you know, like we went over in the other videos, when they're right leaning on the left edge, it just makes a smooth line this way and vice versa. But when you do them right up next to each other like this, in the middle or wherever, what you get is these two raised stitches. And then all of these stitches seem to just go underneath these. I really like the way it looks. This is the modified SSK that I showed you in the other video with the twisted stitch on the next row above it, and it's, you know, it's okay, but I didn't really like the way it looked, so I made another swatch same way. I got a little sloppy with where my stitch marker went, but you can still see the technique is there. And this is with the traditional SSK, and I do think it actually looks a little bit better. I forgot to twist that stitch there on the off row, but it's still not an exact mirror of the K2tog, but it's a lot closer than this one is, I think. Can you see the difference? This swatch has all of the same decreases, but in reverse order. So we have right leaning, left leaning, right leaning, left leaning. And see how different that is? Instead of the raised ridge in the middle, it's more flat. All of the stitches are just meeting together. The only problem with this is you run the risk of this sort of gapping in between. And so you have to either make sure you pull it really super tight in between, but you still might get a gap. So the other option is to add a stitch, just a plain knit stitch, in between each of the decreases, and that will really help to smooth it out. It'll still look nice. To give you a better picture and help you visualize how this is all laid out, I made a couple charts. Now I didn't do all of these rows. I started about, I don't know, here. So I cast on less stitches to save time. This would be on a right side row knit, then a left leaning decrease, in this case modified SSK, then knit to 2 stitches before the stitch marker, knit 2 together, immediately SSK, knit to 3 stitches before the end. That should be like that. And knit 2 together. For the other one, it works the same way. Let's change these to being over 2 stitches because it makes a little more sense. So same thing, knit 1, knit 2 together, knit to 2 stitches before stitch marker, SSK, knit 2 together, knit to 3 stitches before the end, SSK. See how that works? Charts, I know, sometimes can seem intimidating and a little confusing, but if you are a visual learner, which I kind of am, it really can help to visualize what you're seeing when you look at the written instructions. So if you noticed, I worked from right to left because that's the way we're knitting across the rows. And then on a wrong side row, in this case it's stockinette, so it's simple, but you would just purl back across on the wrong side rows. And just to recap, here's my swatch from my old video. Remember this one? I prefer the old-fashioned SSK. Where is it? This one. I prefer the old-fashioned SSK for when it's lined up this way, when you're creating the ridge or doing these mirrored decreases, but I prefer the modified SSK when it's lined up this way. I actually was kind of surprised by that. So that's another reason why it's really good to know your options and to be able to see how each of them works in different situations. Another reason why it's good to have both types of decreases in your tool belt is for when you're making something like a hat, where you're decreasing down to a very small number of stitches to close an opening. If you do all right leaning or all left leaning, it's going to end up looking kind of spirally at the top. Like, see this here, how it's kind of, I don't know, spiraled. It looks cool, right? Kind of like a seashell or something. But imagine there's a whole hat like that. It's going to look like twisted. Go ahead and check out this video on your screen over here to see a really deep dive into left leaning decreases.